Now back to our top story. WIFR reporter Sydney Stoffregan attended the public hearing that will decide the fate of Beloit Health System's proposed neighborhood hospital in northern Winnebago County.
Health system leaders say this expansion will save lives and create dozens of jobs, but some community members believe existing services should be the priority and not a neighborhood hospital.
I do not think we need another hospital in our area.
A sea of opinions flooded a public hearing Tuesday in Roscoe over a $20.7 million proposal to expand the NorthPointe Health and Wellness Campus into a neighborhood hospital. Beloit Health System's plan would add 10 private suites and expand urgent care. System leaders say the upgrades would improve emergency response times by 10 minutes.
It can be up to an hour turnaround time for the ambulance. Now coming to the new neighborhood hospital at NorthPointe, that will save close to a half hour to an hour for each ambulance run, keeping those ambulances in the community.
But OSF St. Anthony Medical Center President Paula Karinsky spoke out against the plan, saying there are already nearly 100 more surgical beds than needed in our region.
Instead of expanding unnecessarily, we should focus on strengthening our existing facilities to ensure we can provide high-quality care to marginalized and underserved populations.
But with the addition of 30 jobs on campus and 50 more in the construction of the hospital, Roscoe President Carol Gustafson sees an economic benefit, saying one hospital job supports 2 additional jobs in the community.
And every dollar spent by hospital generates $2.30 in additional business activity. It is crucial that NorthPointe services remain accessible to all residents.
The Illinois Health Facilities Planning Board will review the application in October. If approved, construction could begin in 2025 with the opening in early 2027.
Thank you, Sydney. And Beloit Health System shared an online petition that would indicate support for the neighborhood hospital. You can find that link on our website.